You ever get that feeling that you're part of some massive, invisible system? A kind of hidden science that decides whether your day goes smoothly or just completely spirals into frustration? Well, guess what? You are. That science is called capacity management, and it literally governs everything from your morning coffee to your internet speed. And once you see it, I promise, you are going to see it everywhere.
We've all been there, right? You see that perfect thing you want, you finally go to buy it, and poof, it's gone, sold out. That little pang of disappointment, that is a capacity failure. The business just didn't have enough stuff to meet what people wanted. And then, of course, there's the flip side. You walk into a shop and it's dead quiet. You see 3 employees just kind of standing around waiting for anyone, to walk in. That quiet, empty feeling, that is also a capacity failure. And it's a really expensive one for the business.
So you see, it all comes down to this incredibly delicate balancing act. On one side, if you have too little capacity, you're looking at lost sales and really angry customers. But on the other side, too much capacity means you're just burning money on wasted resources and idle staff. Nailing this balance, that is the multi-million-dollar question that every single business on the planet has to answer.
Okay, so how in the world do businesses walk this tightrope? Well, this is where capacity management comes into play. You can think of it as both an art and a science, all about mastering that perfect match between what a company can do and what we all want. At its heart, this is really what it's all about. It's not just about having enough stuff, it's about having the right amount of the right stuff in the right place at the right time, and doing it all without going broke. It's kind of like a strategic game of chess, but you're playing against the future. Now, here's where it gets really interesting, the gap between the dream and the reality. See, design capacity is the absolute fantasy. It's what a factory could pump out if it ran 24/7, nothing ever broke, and nobody ever even took a coffee break. But effective capacity, well, that's the real world. It accounts for all the messy stuff like maintenance, shifts, and, human error. And all good planning has to be based on that reality, not the dream. Okay, so when you're facing this wild roller coaster of customer needs, managers basically have a toolkit with 3 main strategies. Let's break them down. First up, we have the steady and stable approach. It's called the level capacity plan. With this, you basically produce the exact same amount every single day. You completely ignore the daily ups and downs of demand and just keep a consistent, predictable rhythm. And this graph shows it perfectly. That straight line, that's your steady level production. The wavy line is, of course, customer demand. So, in the slow periods, when your production is higher than demand, you build up all this extra inventory. That's the green area. Then, when demand suddenly spikes, you dip into that stockpile to keep everyone happy. It's all about producing for tomorrow, today. Now for a totally different tactic. The chase demand strategy does the exact opposite. Instead of staying steady, you get on that roller coaster with your customers and try to match every single peak and every single valley as it happens. Now, the upside here is pretty obvious, right? You have almost no wasted inventory and you're super responsive. But the downside, wow, it's huge. It can mean you're constantly hiring and firing people, which is incredibly expensive and just awful for morale. It is a really high-stress, high-cost way to run a business, especially for your employees. And that brings us to the cleverest strategy of them all. What if, instead of constantly changing your operations to meet demand, you could actually change demand to meet your operations? This is the big idea behind demand management. It's all about influencing how we, the customers, behave. And you see this tactic everywhere. Happy hour prices, that's to get you into the bar on a slow Tuesday night. Cheaper matinee movie tickets, same idea. Doctors' offices use appointments to make sure everyone doesn't just show up at 9 a.m. It's all about smoothing out those crazy peaks and valleys in demand. But look, no matter which strategy a business uses, there is one outcome that we all have to deal with when demand temporarily beats capacity: the queue. So let's talk about the waiting game. This is the great paradox of waiting in line, isn't it? If a coffee shop has enough baristas to serve every single person who comes in over a whole day, why is there always a line at 8 a.m.? The averages work out, so what gives? The answer is one simple, powerful word: variability. People just don't arrive in a nice, neat, orderly fashion. Nope, they show up in clumps, and every single order takes a slightly different amount of time. All that randomness means that even if you have enough capacity on average, there are always going to be moments when demand spikes and a line just forms. Okay, but here's where it gets really fascinating. The actual time you spend waiting is way less important than how you feel about that time. This one psychological principle changes absolutely everything. Think about it. Staring at a blank wall for 2 minutes feels like an eternity, but scrolling on your phone for 5 minutes, it just flies by. So the smartest businesses, they don't just manage the wait, they manage the experience of waiting. They give you distractions, like TVs in the waiting room. They start the service early, like when a restaurant host takes your drink order while you're still in line. They tell you why there's a delay, and so crucially, they make sure the line feels fair. All of this makes the wait feel shorter, even if the clock says it isn't. Now, these principles are pretty universal, but trying to apply them in the real world, that means you've got to deal with local challenges that can throw a giant wrench into even the best laid plans. Take Southern Africa, for instance. Over there, managing capacity isn't just about customer demand. It's about dealing with an unreliable power supply that can literally shut down your entire operation in an instant. It's about navigating really complex labor laws that make a chase strategy almost impossible to pull off. These external factors just add layer after layer of complexity that managers have to solve just to keep the lights on. So here is my challenge to you. The next time you're waiting for a coffee, or you're stuck in traffic, or you're at the supermarket checkout, don't just stand there and get frustrated. Look closer. Try and figure it out. Are they using a level plan, a chase plan? Are they trying to manage your demand, or are they just trying to manage your perception of the wait? Because once you start looking for it, you'll start to see this hidden science absolutely everywhere.